There are a lot of people out there talking about YouTube, but a lot of them are teaching the wrong information. I have been on YouTube since 2009. I've been active on YouTube since 2014. I've made over 1,000 videos, have built channels with hundreds of millions of views with long form content, not the shorts. We talked about that the other day. You know how I feel about that. And I've come to conclude that long form content success is predictable, duplicatable, and anybody can do it if they have the right formula. So right here in this video, right now, today, right now, I'm gonna set the record straight and I'm gonna teach you everything that I know about how to create successful long form content. You ready? Let's do this. I put a lot of research into this just so I can reinforce some of my points. One of the things that we found was in 2018, Mr. Beast had this sweet little quote here back when he was just Bud Beast, you know, just little Bud Beast. Average view duration is way more important than percentage. YouTube doesn't even look at views, they look at watch minutes. Best way to get high minute velocity is to have longer videos so they rack up more minutes, but it probably hurts because CTR, because no one likes long videos. Well, little baby Bud Beast, that has changed. And I think we all know that with podcasts coming onto the platform, like I was talking about in my last video. You guys, if you haven't seen it, go take a look at that. I know a lot of you already have, but the point is he was onto something here and he realized something, and long form content is what people want to see. Short form content is toilet content. You sit on the toilet, you swipe. Long form content is intentional, builds a relationship, forms a community. Long form content's where it's at. And let's talk about why. Now, a lot of people are going to say that thumbnail and title are the most important, and they're not necessarily wrong. But if you don't have a good video that focuses on one thing, and I'm going to talk about in a second, I'm going to show you something insane here. If you don't have a well-produced video to go along with that thumbnail and title, then people aren't going to come back and YouTube isn't going to push your content out anymore. So check this out. I found something. I want to show this to you. I was watching some videos the other day. I'm going to strap on my Princess Leia headphones here because we got to listen to this.
Another thing that we've been getting more into is what we call satisfaction. This is kind of recognizing the fact that yes, we optimize and try to, you know, have watch time as one of the key metrics we look at. Yeah. But we also know that not all watch time is equally valuable to the person watching. You know, you can spend, 15 minutes watching something and then feel like, meh.
Satisfaction is what YouTube is focusing on. This was 3 years ago, you guys. So in the last 3 years, YouTube has dialed in what they consider satisfying content. And they're measuring that based off of where are people going next? Are people sticking around and wanting to watch more of your content? Or are they leaving to watch your competitors' content? If you want to have more success on YouTube, you need to create content that gets them to want to watch one video to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Now, this is a video from Creator Insider, like I said, 3 years ago. It's an interview with Mr. Beast, so a lot of people are focused on what Mr. Beast is saying, but right above that red line, do you see that wavy white line? This is engagement. This is what people are either watching or tuning out. The most important part of this video, I think, is right in here, and nobody's paying attention. And it shows. You guys watch a whole lot of content on YouTube. Not a lot of people are creating content that is satisfying. Gotta focus on that satisfaction. First step in creating satisfying content, you need to know your audience so well that you can hook them in the first 5 seconds of your video. Woo-hoo. The first 5 seconds of your video is vitally important to the remaining however many minutes that video is. If the first 5 seconds suck, you will lose a lot of people very early on as they're watching your content. I want to show you a couple videos from some really top-notch creators and just show you a couple hooks so that way you guys can see this. And if you guys have been watching a lot of my content, I use this hook a lot as a demonstration, as an example, but it's so powerful that I want to show it again, and I want you guys to all pay attention. Ready for this?
I am going to Uber people, but at the end of the ride, let them keep the car. We literally have a Lamborghini.
5 seconds, you know everything about this video that you need to know. You also know what the big thing is, the big prize, the big reward at the end of the video. You know it's a Lamborghini because Mr. Beast talks about it in the first 5 seconds. If the first 5 seconds of your video does not contain something that carries them through the video, you will lose. I promise you that. Now we're going to watch Mark Rober, and then I'm going to share my secret. Ready?
This is the prestigious Walnut Cup. And if you want it for yourself, you'll need to first win a majority of the competition events I've set up in my backyard, and second,
You know within the first 10 seconds what is at stake in this video and what this video is about. So it carries you from very early on through the entire video because it set the stakes. This is the secret to success in a hook. Set stakes. What is at stake? What is the big obstacle? What is the big challenge? What could potentially change your life about this video? If you say that within the first 5 seconds, I promise you people are going to watch longer. And one of the things that we pay attention to with our pool of clients, you guys, we have dozens of clients across dozens of industries. And the thing that always holds true in every video that we create in every different niche is that if we can carry people through the first 30 seconds and have an audience retention of 65% or higher, then it increases the likelihood of that video doing more successful over time. So pay attention to your metrics. Make sure that you're keeping people and holding people for as long as possible in those first 5 seconds. Set stakes. That is the secret number one. Oh my gosh. And there's a lot coming. All right, guys, in our research session here at Graffiti Media, we leave no stone unturned. There was a study done by Cornell not too long ago that measured YouTube videos and retention and success of video content. And they came to conclude a couple of things. Videos that have a higher like to view ratio, that have higher negative sentiment in the comments, and that have higher views are more likely to encourage more views or get more views and make that video more successful. Some of the things that you can do in the body of your content are encourage engagement. If you guys don't believe me, leave a comment down below and tell me what you think about that, because I'm just here to say that you're wrong and I'm right because Cornell did a study on it. Encouraging negative sentiment or creating content on topics that are polarizing that people have an opinion on are a great way to get that video to do more views. If you look at our video that skyrocketed this channel not too long ago, the one on short form content, most people in the comments either agreed with me and wanted to voice their opinion about their hatred of shorts, or they disagreed with me and told me that I didn't do my research, and but I did and you didn't, so I'm right and you're wrong. Once again, somebody called me a Chad. And this is something that we can echo from our client channels as well, is if you have more polarizing points of views and you can encourage more engagement with those polarizing point of views, then you have a higher likelihood of success. We have replicated this over and over and over again. It is definitively near a proof. It's a very strong hypothesis with a lot of evidence backing it up. A very strong theory in scientific terms. Moving on from the hook. Now, once you have the hook established, you still have to keep people's attention throughout the body of your content. Now, we do this with a form of what we call micro hooks. Micro hooks are phrases or sentences that tease upcoming content and keep people engaged for longer. And if you don't believe me, just wait until I prove it to you with some charts and graphs. That, my friends, was a micro hook. Wait until I prove it. The last thing I said. You got it. What we found is that the more micro hooks that your content has, the higher likelihood that people are going to stick around longer. And we actually measured this over a couple videos where we had very few micro hooks in one video and more micro hooks in the other. It led to a 30% increase in audience retention, driving this video here to 53.6% from the last one that was in the high 30%. If micro hooks is something that's super interesting to you and you never heard about it, we have a micro hook guide down in the description. You just have to click the link and download it. YouTube gives you a massive amount of data to collect. And if you're not utilizing that data and monitoring it, measuring it, and acting accordingly based off of what you're seeing in the data, then you're going to be missing out. One of the things that we really look at is the retention graph. Now, YouTube's got this really cool key for measuring your own audience retention that just shows you what each of the retention graphs means and then how you can take those and change around your content to make it a little bit better. I highly recommend that you click the link and go and check that out as well, so that way you can constantly be improving. Basically, wherever there is a dip in your retention graph, that's something that people either fast forwarded through or that made them leave your content. If you monitor your content over time and you notice consistent dips when you say certain phrases or when you do certain jokes or when you do certain activities, I highly recommend that you start cutting that stuff out of your content so that way you can give your audience a more satisfying viewing experience. Satisfaction. action. All right, if you want to take your microhooks to that next level and really start creating content that hooks people in and engages them, there is another trick that you can use that is a little bit more complex, but once you get it right, could lead to massive success. It is called the Zeigarnik effect. So let's take a walk in history, you guys.
Back in 1927, in the height of the Prohibition, right before World War II, it kicked off, and a lot of people were all over the place. There was a lot of psychologists doing all sorts of fancy psychological experiments on people. One really cool psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik created a study, the effect of cutting people... oh man.
Basically, what this Russian psychologist found out was that if you leave people hanging or you cut off content, it will result in a higher likelihood of them returning, of them remembering, of them being excited to follow up what was cut off, what they were missing out on. Basically, as a result of the study, the psychologist determined that cutting people off, it helps them retain things or remember things. So traditionally, the way that this has been used in video production is by having a to be continued moment in a television show. So if you cut people off without resolving, it creates tension, that creates remembrance, that creates excitement, that leads them to want to come back. So if you watch Mr. Beast's content, you guys, what he typically does is he'll start a storyline and then he will pause that, and then he'll start another storyline, then he'll pause that, then he'll come back to the first storyline. He is constantly using the Zeigarnik effect to keep people engaged throughout the entirety of the video. Mr. Beast is a genius in this regard, and if you guys want people to have higher retention on your content, I highly recommend doing similar stuff in your content as well. The Zeigarnik effect, look it up. Pay attention to it, implement it. All right, you guys, that's all I got. If you like this video, watch this one right here, this one right here. There's so much information in this channel that I want you guys to see. Make sure you hit subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I'm doing all sorts of cool stories and information over there. See you on the next one. Bye.